Hi everybody, this is Nick Dana. I'm the editor of TriCountyRecord, and I am here today with Sal Paterno of Something Grilled in Honeybrook, and we've got something very special for you today. Sal has graciously offered to help show us a couple of simple yet delicious grilling techniques that will kind of carry you through the end of the summer and into the fall. It's still kind of grilling season. It's still nice outside. It's still the perfect time to get out there on your grill with your family in the backyard and spend some time with your family. And Mr. Paterno is going to help us do that with some tips and tricks from his kitchen that he's going to pass on to you. So enjoy and stick with us.
Okay, so for today we're going to be making a peppercorn and garlic crusted pork tenderloin, and we're going to serve it over a nice fresh bed of sauteed spinach. First thing you want to do when you're grilling, of course, is you always want to turn your grill on. You want to go outside, get it going, get it hot. You always want to turn things to where you want them to be, kind of like preheating an oven. You don't want to go out there and turn everything on high and throw your food on there and then try and turn it down. Usually when I do something like this, I like to be like medium high. So we've already set our grill up. It's already hot, ready to go. Our tenderloin, we have a nice pork tenderloin here, which I'm going to be using gloves since I don't have a hand sink right next to me. Most of the time, your pork tenderloin will come trimmed mostly, but usually you have what's called a silver skin here across the back side. It can be rather tough after you cook it, so I like to take that off beforehand. So the easiest way to do that is you want to get right up underneath of it, kind of turn your knife away from the pork, and just lightly glide it down the back of the skin. Now the rest of it's mainly fat. It's going to give a little bit of flavor to the meat, so we're going to leave that little bit on there. We want to get ourselves a pan, put our pork in there for right now, and just set that aside for a second. I like to use whole peppercorns, crush them myself. I have this nice little tool here, which was a gift. If you don't have one of these, don't worry, because it's real easy to crack pepper. It can be as simple as taking a brown paper bag and your meat tenderizer. Make sure you use the side that doesn't have the little knobs on it. Lay it on the table and lightly crack down on it with the hammer. Try not to hit it too hard. And try not to grind it up too much. We're going to set that aside for a second. Get ourselves a clean cutting board. You never want to use the same cutting board you use raw meat. So we have some fresh garlic here. Basically, you're just going to peel all the outside off. Now the easiest way to peel garlic is you want to take the side of your knife, just give it a little press. Okay, the skin will start to come off a little bit. If you feel comfortable using a bigger knife, you can just peel it right off. It should fall right off most of the time. Okay, so basically we're just going to slice it down. It doesn't have to be real fine. I know they make those garlic presses. I'm not a big fan of them. I always feel like all you get is garlic juice. You know, they tell you can even leave the skin on, but I've tried them before and I end up with this wad of skin with half the garlic messed inside and garlic juice. And I love garlic. I love fresh garlic. Fresh garlic, there's nothing like it. You know, you can buy that stuff that's ground up in those jars in the grocery store, but just not a big fan of that. Always seems to have a real bitter flavor to it. Okay, so now we have our garlic, our cracked black pepper, and our tenderloin. You want to take a little bit of vegetable oil, okay, just lightly sprinkle it over top of your tenderloin. Now what you want to try and do, even though you're not probably wearing gloves, you're standing next to a hand sink, but you want to try and keep one hand out of the pork, okay? Use one hand and try and flip your pork. What you can do is take a little bit of your peppercorn, generously sprinkle it over top of your pork tenderloin. Some garlic. If it seems a little dry, take a little bit more oil on there. You don't want it to be sopping. It doesn't need to be in a pool of oil, because all that's going to do is cause your grill to light up and smoke a lot. Now if you like things spicy, you can add more peppercorn. If you like a lot of garlic like me, you can add more garlic. Okay? Basically that's what you're going to be looking at. Okay? And we're going to want to let that sit for about 20 minutes and just kind of semi-marinate. Doesn't have to sit long. So we have this one that I did a little earlier. That one's ready to go. This one, of course, I put a little more black pepper on because I like black pepper. Okay, so our tenderloin's cooking now. It's looking pretty good. It usually takes about 25-30 minutes on the grill. Okay, so our tenderloin's now done. It took about 20-25 minutes. It's nice and caramelized on the outside. Okay. Usually, when you're cooking meat, what you want to look for is firmness. Okay. You know, when the meat's raw, it's kind of jelly. It bounces around, but when it's done, it has a nice spring back to it. If you have a nice little thermometer at home, especially when it comes to pork, you want to make sure it's 160, 165 degrees. I always say, they say 165, I say 160, because when you pull it off, you get what's called carryover cooking. It's going to continue to get hot through the center of it. You really don't want to poke and pry at it too much. The more you cut it open, the more you put holes in it, the more juices come out. And what end up happening is you're going to have a dry piece of meat. Our tenderloin's done, and what you always want to do when you're dealing with bigger cuts of meat is you want to let them sit. You don't want to take it off and cut right into it. You're going to have like Niagara Falls. You're going to see all your good juices run all over the table or all over your cutting board, and the meat's going to be dry. So we're going to take this off, we're going to set it aside, and while we do that, we're going to make our spinach, because this will have time to set and really absorb those juices and cool down. Okay, so while our pork is sitting and setting, okay, and cooling off a little bit, of course, we're going to do our spinach. We're going to make some nice, fresh sauteed spinach. Nothing frozen, packaged, anything like that. Typically, you want to do is use a little bigger of a pot than what you're trying to cook, especially when it comes to fresh spinach, because it's bulky, but it cooks down quick. We're going to take some of our garlic that we chopped up earlier, okay? Just put a couple tablespoons in there. We're going to add a little bit of oil, just to coat the bottom of the pan. Okay? Just look kind of, wet, not real soupy. I always like to add a little bit of red pepper flakes. Gives it a little bit of a bite. But not too much, of course, because we're using it with peppercorn crusted pork tenderloin, so we don't want it to be too spicy that we need a gallon of water to eat it with. And we're just going to add a little pinch or two of salt. And we're going to put it on the stove. Okay, so we put the garlic with the oil on the stove, like a medium-high heat. We're going to let that brown up nice. What we're going to want to do is, you want to take your spinach and you want to wash it real good. Anytime you're dealing with fresh vegetables, you always want to wash them really good. Even when you're dealing with melons that you think, well, I'm only eating the inside of the melon, I'm not eating the rind. But what happens is the bacteria gets on the outside, and when you cut it with that knife, you draw the bacteria into the melon. So you always want to wash your fresh fruits and vegetables very, very good. So we've washed our spinach already, and what you want to try and do is you want to actually leave it a little bit wet. You don't want to make it too dry. You want a little bit of water for when you put it in the oil. So what we did here is we just browned that garlic up a little bit with some oil, okay? And we're not going to add anything else. All we're going to do is just put our fresh spinach right into the pot. Now what you're going to want to do is, as it's cooking, you're going to want to try and turn it a little bit. You don't want to cook this too long. You like to get it to the point where all the leaves are kind of become translucent a little bit, okay? And then you're done. You set it aside, and your spinach is ready. You can take a nice clean cutting board, something that hasn't been used for any kind of raw meat. We're going to transfer our pork there. What we're going to do is take our spinach. Okay, look at that. Look at all that nice garlic in there. Love it. So what you can do is take your tenderloin. You don't want to take your tenderloin, cut it just on a little bit of an angle. Give you a little bit bigger pieces. See how nice and juicy that is? If you were to cut that right off the grill, it'd be really dry. And you can serve it right over your spinach, or even on the side if you want. I would suggest using more of a casserole dish. I just don't have anything like that here. And if you're like me and you like your carbs, a good complement to this dish would just be some wide egg noodles. Boil them up, add a little bit of butter, maybe some Parmesan cheese. Go great with this dish. So here's our finished product. We have the pork tenderloin over top of our sauteed spinach. What you can do, if you like, which I like, is at the very end, just take a very little bit of fresh lemon and just lightly squeeze it over top of it. Gives a little bit of flavor. Of course, try and keep the seeds out. Try not to stress yourself out. Have fun. That's what all cooking's all about.